So tell us who you are, man. Where are you from, and what do you do? I suppose you're full time in Christian apologetics at the moment.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you can share about yourself, maybe that we don't know yet?
Um, Me, Ricky. By the way, Ricky is my real name, and
Oh, sure.
originally Venda Mubikana Tombo.
Mm,
They say Mubikana Tombo,
nice.
meaning you were boiled together with the with the spoon.
Sure,
And
sure.
so originally from Limpopo, Elim, born at Elim Hospital, and then I came to
Mm,
Joburg around the period of my high school. And by that period, my family was not religious at all, but they
mm,
had taken us to a school that was very famous in Limpopo, which was called Saint Scholastica, and it was a
mm.
Catholic school. And so
Wow.
at the Catholic school, you know what it is. On Fridays they had services, and everybody must go to the services, and that's how I got
Mm,
into religion and
mm,
my love for that. But I feel like that opened me, or it left me open for a later on deception, which would become Islam, because Islam
sure.
was like directly answering um,
Wow.
Catholicism. People think
Mm.
Islam is actually answering
Sure.
Christianity. No, it's
No.
nowhere close.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they talk about Mary, the Trinity is Mary, the Son, and the Father, or the Holy Spirit, or something.
Yeah, so that shows you that that set me up. So not knowing Christian doctrine, or just having the Bible and not knowing Bible doctrine, it exposed me
Mm,
to Islam, because one of my uncles was their whole branch of family is actually Islam, and so he kind of made the presentation to say, you believe in the wrong thing, and he would make those hints. And little did I know, later on when I would start studying Islam, I would find that, hey, you know what Muhammad was describing was because of one of his wives. One of his wives was actually the rich wife that he had, was
mm.
actually a
The
Catholic.
older
And
one.
yeah, the
The
older
older
one.
one or the younger one? Because he was a
No,
man of extremes.
the younger one was a fascinating character, and I think she shows the modern version of a woman, because she questions the
Mm.
prophet
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
She's the
yeah,
one who actually tells us about
yeah.
missing verses in the Quran and
Mm,
stuff like that,
mm.
Aisha. So
Yes, yes.
who but the older one who he married, who was a business successful merchant and stuff, and so she
Mm.
was a Catholic. And
Oh,
so
so.
he's directly answering to the belief systems that he
Mm,
had with them. And remember, because of the business of the wife, they constantly commuted to areas where there were merchants who were Catholics, Christians, and Jews. And so
mm,
Muhammad's religion is not a world phrased religion. It's literally
mm,
it's a religion that's phrased around Arabia. And so
mm,
but that exposure kind of brought me to Islam. I studied that, but I found problems. And in Islam, they don't like answering questions, and
mm,
that kind of led me back to saying, "Wait a minute, what did Christians believe?" And then I got introduced to Walid Shubat, uh,
mm,
who was doing a lot of apologetics and answering and bringing out verses out of thingy. I got introduced to David Wood, Sam
mm, mm,
Shimon, and
mm.
I hope one day I
Lethal
would have.
guys, eh?
Oh my goodness! I remember.
Yo, Sam Shamoun is the worst. Yo.
Oh my goodness! That they used to have a show, early 2000, 2010, 2011.
Mm,
That show introduced me to apologetics. Those guys were on point.
mm.
They would take calls. And I was like,
Wow.
I would love this, to be so
Yeah,
prepared that you literally have
yeah.
the answers when a person just calls
Mm.
in. I was
Like
like,
this, yeah.
I love this. And
Mm,
that took me into when I got introduced to apologetics. Then there was a guy called Not Your Typical Negro, and he had a channel. I don't think he still posts nowadays, but he was an
mm,
American. And so that got me, I just gotten born again into a charismatic church, prosperity gospel.
mm,
That got me out of that. And
mm,
I got more introduced to the the origins of the King James Bible. So that got me back to
mm,
the Reformers and the Reformers version
mm,
of Christianity, and it got me into
mm.
Baptist thingy.
I
I ended
see.
up as a now, if you ask me what branch of theology do you believe, I might be in a modern church, maybe charismatic or whatever. I just go to what church is next,
Yeah.
which teaches the right doctrine. But
Mm,
my holding place on theology, I would say I'm more messianic theology.
absolutely.
There's a, there's a lot of those roots of how the Hebrews used to interpret the scriptures, and
Absolutely.
so that's Ricky in 20 minutes.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. No, it's awesome to hear your story. I'm actually like, you can just keep talking and talking. It's your journey just moving from, these different religions and then eventually finding Christ is certainly something that we can all learn from.
Do you know the fascinating part about that entire period is that I had so much trouble during the point I got born again. But before that, there wasn't much problems, like about belief. When I got born again 2009, that's when I started having people flooded. I was flooded
Wow.
I used to stay in Ponte, which is in Joburg CBD, and there's this building with Vodacom sign on it. I used to
Okay,
stay
no, I
in
know
that
what that
building.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a Latter-day Saints church next to us, right
Yeah.
next to the Ponte building. So they used to come, they would give me their material, they would just flood me with questions. I'd be like, what is going on? And in our building, we used to have a lot of Jehovah's Witness people. They would be at my door. They would be Seventh-day Adventist people. So I was dealing with a lot of struggles with where to stand in those early periods. And so if a person looks at my channel now, they would feel like, this child, what do you believe? Nah, that's the war. You're literally looking at the war that I had to deal with. Where someone will tell me something and I can't verify it. I don't know where to get it. I don't know what verse. And because I was constantly researching, I would go out in the during the day. There was an internet cafe where they used to do me a huge favor. It was a students' cafe in Braamfontein, but they would give me 30 hours worth of internet time for like $20, and
Yeah.
I would be there week after week downloading videos, downloading debates, and now they troubled me so much. I now had to find answers against them to say, no, but even you are not. So now it's a to and
Yeah.
fro. And so that's
No, it's
how,
awesome what you're doing though on your channel.
yeah, it's a struggle with doctrine, basically. It's a continuous struggle. And that's what I was exposed to. And then on top of that, you add the conspiracies. I spent a long time struggling with conspiracies. Because now there's the Jesus that we have been told about is not the right Jesus. Is he black? Is he white? Which one is it? And you know that web. It just swells you. You're just like, okay, fine, he was black. Okay, fine. You can't hide an Arabian
Let's move
child.
on now from there. Yeah. Let's go deeper.
But this is now the danger of it, is that you just start agreeing with them so that they can stop arguing, right? No, yes, okay, he's black, that's why he was hidden in Egypt. Okay, so okay, fine, we
let's
agree.
go. Yes.
But then we don't see the danger of what we're doing is that we are allowing a debate that's not fundamental. It actually shows the person who is debating it doesn't even understand the world that they live in. Politics is not an old topic. I think people don't understand that.
Absolutely.
The idea of governance is an old topic. The whole thing of having a structure and yes, it goes from all the way back, and God used to refuse that system. He said, no, Samuel, they have not refused you. It's me that they have refused.
They've rejected him.
So when you find Christians debating these things, they don't understand the very belief that they are in. This was not what it was meant to be.
Absolutely.
We're supposed to be hearing from God. The prophet gives us the message. We are in the right place. We are worshiping God.
We interpret it,
Yeah, and then the whole thing of race. People don't even understand that one as well. Race, it's a very new topic.
Yeah, it's modern racism.
It's not a topic that you could literally take and put into the Bible. Like people think, people were enslaved because of their color. No, you're wrong. They were enslaved because where they stayed.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's a geographical thing.
Yeah, but then people take the apartheid system and they're thinking apartheid into the idea of, the Jews were enslaved. That is very much black. No, you're thinking wrong.
It's so self-defeating, that thing. When you go to the Bible and you're looking for black people, and then you see slavery, then you think slavery is for black people, then you take that and you, my God.
You run with that, and you're running with the wrong concept, because and us also, another thing that they don't understand is that the world system that was phrased back then is not the world system that is phrased now.
Yeah.
To begin with, the first thing you did for your survival was to find water, and to find where you're going to farm, or where you're going to herd your
where
flock.
you're going
That's
to live, yeah.
Exactly. That was the first thing. It wasn't buying property. You are not talking about buying property. Back then, there wasn't that. You could buy the property, they can come and take it from you.
Absolutely.
And so already we are dealing with problems that are not the subject matter of what the Bible is. The Bible is trying to show you the tragedy of the fall. If you are,
and how it plays itself out.
Exactly. And how deep it goes.
Yes.
Give an example of Joseph. Why is Joseph having to deal with brothers that are selfish to a point where they can't allow him to shine? Like, God has put him in this position. Why can't you let him be up there without feeling like you have to take him down in order for you to
jealousy and all these things, yeah.
And all of the brothers, even though there might be one who might be off-putting and whatnot, which is why I was watching this new show, Squid Game, this new challenge Squid Game thingy. I think Christians should watch that season. It says a lot, because
what's it called? Squid Games.
Yeah, there was the series that was done, which was like a movie, very violent. It discourages a lot of things that we all stand on, capitalism and whatnot and that. So, but that was a very violent version of thingy. It was a series, but they have a new series that they released, which is like a Amazing Races. You see, like Amazing Races. Yeah. But the thing about the new one is that they did it with real people that are really competing. You see the deceit. You see people plotting. You see people conniving, and other people are confronted by the decisions that they made at an earlier point. You see people's hatred. You see, like, it all comes out in one.
Yeah.
Just in one. And so nowadays you are dealing with people that are so confused because they are having to deal with too much information.
Yeah, that's true. There are too many voices. I agree with you. Yeah, too much information. Yeah.
And so those were the areas where I struggled a lot with, because when you look at the theology that's been taught in Latter-day Saints, they are dealing with a very racist system. And they're trying to insert racism into things. God made black people because they had sinned. It's a curse.
The whole curse of Ham thing.
Oh my goodness. They make it about the curse and whatnot. And you're like, what are you talking about? And then you read the geography that they talk about in the Latter-day Saints. It does not match with any part of the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's number one.
It's all conspiracies. Yeah, it's all conspiracies.
You see that? And
conspiracy theories.
Yeah. And so they inserted this entire belief system. They inserted manuscripts and scripts in order to authenticate their version of religion. But if you read like, for instance, one of the things that they actually mentioned when I was trying to understand how false Latter-day Saints is, so that I could reject it, was one guy mentioned one simple thing. He says the fruits that he talks about, the plants that are being talked about in the Book of Mormon, they are not plants that you find originally in that area.
I see. So it's all made up.
Yeah, it's made up. So basically, the person who was like, for instance, you can tell when certain plants were introduced into a certain region. If you say, whether be it maize meal, there was a period where maize meal was not in certain areas, and the type of maize meal. Another thing, we know the black and thingy, we know the white one nowadays, but there's many types. There's black, there's what, and where did they start those particular ones? And so the guy broke down the history of how the maize meal that's been talked about there was not there.
It's not.
And I was like, wow. And then the geography. You take the map that they talk about in the book, in the Book of Mormon, it doesn't match with any part. You can't fit the map anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But then
I find
the
also
Bible,
that it's similar to the Quran as well.
exactly.
There's things they talk about there. You like, it sounds like they're talking about another location, but they're describing another here.
Yeah, and so these type of things, that's how deep I had to go and study in order for me to dismiss certain things, certain belief systems and stuff. And I remember one guy actually, I was researching on I think it was a rabbi actually who was talking about why the Bible, from a textual criticism perspective, why the Bible holds its line. Because first of all, the land makes sense. The geography that's been talked about, it makes sense. The people that is in a certain area, it makes sense. The timing of the entire thing. The narrative, which was not possible, like, or for instance, when the Bible talks about the God's wisdom upholding the world, and then you think about, wait a minute, how did the writer know that the world is literally hanging on nothing?
Absolutely.
You can only say that on revelation. And so things like that, the aspect of science, the science that is put into the Bible compared to the science of Islam, for example. In Islam, Muhammad was asked, how does a child get born? How does a child come about? And Muhammad's answer was, is a plot of blood. So
Muhammad has always got weird things, eh?
Oh man, the dude didn't understand, which shows, but what it does, it shows that it's not of God. He's making it up. And so these were the things that I looked at when I was dismissing this thing. So the thing that people see nowadays on my channel, this is a light version to what I was dealing with. I was like consistent. I used to stop going to school, which is not a good idea. Don't do that.
Don't try it at home.
Don't try it at home. You might get into trouble. I would abandon class so that I can go to a debate. So that was hectic. I remember I had an assembly. A school accepted me to do the assembly. And they used to do an assembly on Mondays at 7 in the morning. And I had a class at 8. I would leave CJC and go do that. I would rather get to the class late.
So the signs were there.
The signs were there that,
the signs were there from the beginning.
Yeah. And so that's me in 15 minutes.
In a nutshell. That's nice to hear. It's nice to hear about your journey and how you got here, because a lot of people just see 100,000 subscribers, but it was very nice to just hear you share a little bit about what drives you and how you got here.
Yeah.